What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now, I'm going to talk about Star Wars Skeleton Crew, the first 2 episodes. Okay, Star Wars needed a win. We know that The Rise of Skywalker didn't go over well. And I'm sure there's people out there that like it, but it didn't go over well. Acolyte was awful. Just awful. Acolyte is the only Star Wars content, movie or TV show, that I checked out of. I checked out of it, hated it, didn't want anything to do with it, and I stopped watching it after the 3rd episode or so. And I know I've had some people come back and say, you should really give it a shot, it gets better. I don't care if it gets better. It lost me. And that's one thing that a show should never do, is lose you, and it lost me. So Acolyte was terrible. And then you look at Ahsoka, wasn't really that good. It had good stuff in it, but it wasn't really that good. Obi-Wan wasn't really that good. It had good stuff in it, but it wasn't really that good. Outside of Andor and The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, Star Wars has been struggling. Mandalorian Season 3 was a huge step down. Don't even get me started on the Book of Boba Fett. I mean, it's been struggling. So they needed a win here. And I'm happy to report that after 2 episodes, I'm feeling optimistic about this. I'm fully aware that this could go horrible. The opportunity for this to go horrible is there. But I'm optimistic. After the first 2 episodes, I can say this is good. There's still a long ways to go. And if Lucasfilm has proved anything, it's that they can screw things up pretty bad. So, and listen to me. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Listen to how negative I am towards the brand. That makes me so sad. But they did this. Lucasfilm did this by the content they've been releasing. Anyways. So, it delivered what I was hoping it would deliver. It delivered what I felt the promise of the trailers was, and that was to deliver Goonies and Star Wars. Goonies in space. And after 2 episodes, I feel like it's delivered that. You have this ragtag group of kids who, some of them are friends, some of them are not friends, but they found themselves thrown together when one of them finds what he believes is a Jedi temple. It ends up being a spaceship. They end up on the spaceship, and they end up finding themselves in hyperspace, and they find themselves in a world of pirates, space pirates, which I love. That's a part of Star Wars that I've always really enjoyed, and I've always felt that outside of the comics and the books, I've always felt like we haven't gotten enough of that. So they end up waking up the android who declares the girl in the group the captain, and because she comes up with a ruse that she killed the captain. So he says, okay, well, now you're my captain. And he takes him to this pirate planet. And at the pirate planet, we meet our main antagonist, or at least what seems to be our main antagonist. And I love this guy. I forget his name off the top of my head, but his character oozes 80s bad guy, right? He has the wolf head. And, growing up in the 80s, the bad guys were always wolves, right? You think about Willow, you think about The Never-Ending Story, you think about all these classic movies and TV shows from the 80s. The wolf was always the personification of the bad guy. And I love that they brought that into the bad guy in this series. And I love that it looks like, at least, that the actor who's playing this character, his wolf mask looks like it's mostly practical. Looks like it's mostly animatronic, prosthetics, whatever. It looks very practical. And again, I love that. It brings out that 80s charm that I think a show like this absolutely needs. So, yeah, it gives that 80s retro vibe. It feels like Star Wars once they leave the planet. It feels like Star Wars. It feels like it belongs in the era that the show is taking place in after the fall of the Empire. It all works so far. Almost all of it. Let's talk about the one thing I didn't really like in this. For some reason, Star Wars has been guilty of doing this. And this dates back to the prequels even. They've been guilty of taking Earth, our culture on Earth, and superimposing it onto alien planets. All right, when we meet these kids, they are living on a planet that looks very much like Earth, to the point where the kids are wearing backpacks to school. They're packing their lunches. They're getting on the bus. They're living in the suburbs. It looks and feels very much like Earth, the suburbs, with maybe just a little Star Wars seasoning sprinkled in there. I don't know why the writers have felt the need to do this so much in Star Wars. Look, these guys are just like you. Well, okay, great. How about showing a little imagination and creating a unique culture and a unique planet, rather than just putting Star Wars clothes on the suburbs? It's kind of annoying, but it's a nitpick, because honestly, once they left the planet, which was early in the first episode, once they left the planet, the rest of this just really worked for me. So I'm very optimistic. Hopefully they can keep this energy going. Hopefully they can keep this retro vibe going. And hopefully they can find a good story to tell with these kids who find themselves away from home in a galaxy far, far away. I am completely down with it so far. Again, I know Lucasfilm they 100% have the capacity to screw this up, but I'm hopeful. So, and by the way, oh my gosh, what's the actor's name? The big actor who plays, why is it his name coming to me? Anyways, he doesn't show up until like the last scene of episode 2. So don't get frustrated if the first 2 episodes you really don't see him. Why can't I think of his name? If someone were to tell me his name right now, I'd be like, yes, that's it. I can't think of it though. Jude Law, right? Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't show up until the end of the 2nd episode. So hopefully he's a great character, and hopefully he brings us something special. Pretty sure based on the end of this episode, he is a Jedi, or was a Jedi. But I guess we'll see. Guys, first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew really worked for me. What did you think of them? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there commenting, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.